Hey, how yous all going? It's Big Stan here. Big Stan the man. Yeah, this is me beautiful property out here where I grow me free-range beauties. Just love 'em. All me chickens. You want the best tasting chicken around? Big Stan's Chicken Farm. Free-range beauties. So welcome along. It's the King Kombi YouTube channel. We're going to get into building the king. Yeah, that's right. We're going to build the king. So watch along and have a good time and see what you think of the king. He's early in the build, but he's coming along. Oh yeah, how'd the chicken with no legs cross the road? In a KFC bucket. Rightio guys, buckle up. We're going to get into the build. Here we go. Good to see you, Big Stan. Welcome everyone along. Welcome to episode 3 of the build series of King Kombi. So we're right into it. Thanks for the intro, by the way, Big Stan. He's a valued member of the Kings of RC in his little Kombi van. So here we are. We're laying on gel coat here. So this is to take the mould off. It's already been waxed and release agent on there. So this is the first layer you put down, which is basically will make all the mould smooth inside. After that, we'll start with fiberglass. So we went 225 weight, which is a thin layer of fiberglass mat, so you can get all the air bubbles out. Then we started with thicker layers and eventually core mat. How many layers in total? Probably about 7 in these molds. They're quite heavy. After that was done, we put a steel frame on there, so when they're laying on the ground we could stack them up. And yeah, they came out pretty good, so we're happy with those. There's the frame there, you can see that. And the molds came off really good on the front and rear, which was a big relief, especially the front one. We just didn't want anything to go wrong. I can't say the same for the roof, but so we went for the same procedure on the roof, but just as we thought everything was going good, Bruce notified me you could see some wrinkles appearing. It's called tripe in fiberglass, and it just started to swell up. It looked like something out of the War of the Worlds, and yeah, not a great thing. And anyone that's done fiberglass will eventually experience tripe. So I came up with a great idea of putting holes in there and filling it with resin. It was a bit of a band-aid, but it did help. And but basically we had to do repairs in the mold when it came off. So we got all that done. Everything was pretty well, and we had to do the repairs in the mold. Then it came time to get rid of the plug, which is the original shape. Ready, Bruce? 1, 2, 3. Say, push. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. 1, 2, 3, go. Now let's go back. Let's move it out. Okay, ready? Go. 1, 2, 3. Come on, Bruce. 1, 2, 3.
You can tell who the smart one is, the one holding the camera. I'll have to go.
There we go, there's our roof. It's a monster. It's beautiful. A little bit of reaction up the back here, but we'll fix that. This is our bad spot. See here, there's some, we will fix that, we'll bog them up, clean them up. That's the worst spot we've got in all the moulds over the whole job. Besides that, this is huge. One custom Kombi roof. And just like that, we had all the moulds. You can actually see all the reactions there, but had to repair that and had to destruct the plug, get rid of it, get a skip in and get rid of all the leftovers. Okay, it's Tuesday, 31st of January 2017. Kombi plug's all gone, so everything up here is clean now. So we have the finished molds. So now I'm about to start making side panels of the Kombi. So all the molds came out good. There was just a teeny couple of imperfections. One of them was right there. The rest of the mold's good, besides the flute. That's where it copped it. So what I'm doing now is repairs on all the air bubbles that were in the flute. Terrible job, but we'll be able to save it and get them out there all right. have to use a lot of release agent around that area. So I filled in all the cavities down here. They were really bad. This one here wasn't so bad as far as the cavities go, but it was more on the sides here that really copped it. So, and like here. But anyway, we'll get that. It's going to be in white gel coat. Sides of the first panel's done. That's what we're making right now. Hello buddy, bit of a progress report. So that's where we had that chip there at the front. I've repaired that, sprayed it with Duratec, so we'll sand that. So that's the front where that chip was. Now, the flutes. So what I've done is I've bogged every single air cavity in them, sanded them, bogged, sanded them, sanded, bogged, sanded them for days. Now what I've done is I've marked an area off, sprayed it all with Duratec, filled every pinhole. So when that's dry, I'm going to sand it all out neatly to try and seal up all the bog and stuff. Same with this side. And mate, I reckon if I sand that all nice, polish it nice, clean all the edges up, blend them in, like blend all these edges in nicely, I reckon we're going to get some good quality flutes. But 2 days of torture. This would rank with one of the shittiest jobs I've done so far. Anyway, moving on buddy. Cheers mate. Rightio, so here we go. At this stage all the moulds for the sides were prepped and cleaned. The area where the air vents, flutes on the original Kombi that I made were just absolutely not necessary because of where the big flare guards were going to go, but I couldn't envision that early in the project and what exactly was going to happen. So I figured put all the air vents in there to make it original, but they were not ready. That little thing I'm pointing out there, that's a hole that's drilled through, so once the actual side's made I can pump air to release it, because that area there is just a terrible area to try and release. They ended up a disaster anyway, because no matter what happened I had air bubbles and stuff in there, just too hard. Shouldn't have put them there, but we'll move on from that. So basically everything was waxed PVA, which is a release agent, done the repairs there on the front of it, and it was all pretty much ready to go. So yeah, it was nervous time because I'm actually making the real panels now. So these were the first of the real panels to make. That's you're mixing up all the gel coats and stuff. You can see a bit of a sheen on it. Like the molds are far from perfect. If this was in a boat industry, they would want a perfect mold to have gel coat in, so when they pull it out it'll be absolutely perfect. But I was always going to sand this and prime it to paint it. So once you put a high build primer on there, it pretty much hides everything. So there we go. That's the white gel coat that was laid down. Matte going in, core matte to make the panels. How thick were the panels? I would say approximately, there's me sending a message to my Miss Jackie. There's the front panels, and yeah, everything came out pretty good. It did. So all the molds released good. There's gel coat in again. Everything came out really good. As you'll see here, these are the rear panels that came out pretty much perfect. The front came out perfect, not a mark in it. And I trimmed them up and put them back in the molds. And yeah, it was time to move on from there and get some work started. So the very first thing we needed to do was to, before we could start on the chassis, was to basically tie all the body together. So you can see there's big aluminium plates. They went into pre-drilled holes that we'd marked out in the mould. So yeah, so we managed to bolt it all together, and it sort of looked all the part. And yeah, we're pretty happy that we actually had a real Kombi looking body now. So yeah, everything came together. Yeah, there's still some marks in the fiberglass. We had a little bit of tripe and stuff, but we didn't care. We were happy with what we got. There's some idiot in the car. Yeah, so basically it looked the part and we were stoked. Chromoly arrived, so we got all our chromoly in so we could get started on it. Okay, Wednesday, 17th of May 2017. Update on King Kombi. We are down here. So this is the workshop area. Wow, chassis designs and not necessarily designs, theories up on the wall on how we're going to build it. Yeah, so here she is. We've actually screwed all the panels together now. You look down the side, it's all jigged up at sort of a ride height how King Kombi's going to get built. So yeah, we've got the wheels we'll be using on the car. That's our beadlocks. You can just see them there. The wheel arches aren't cut out. Look down here. There's the back of it all together. Look at it down there. So yeah, today's a pretty great day. All the chromoly showed up, so there's our rack up top. Lots of molly up there. So we're running 1 3/4 will be our main chassis, 3mm wall thickness, same as like a Pro 2 Super Stadium truck. 1 5/8 will be all our brace bars and stuff. That's 83 wall, so that's a bit lighter. But yeah, it should be nice and strong, and that's what we're aiming for. It's got to do a lot of jumping and stuff with the chassis. Here's our shocks up here. That's our King shocks, 16" and 12". 16's for the rear. We've got bypass and coilovers, front and rear. So we are waiting on the hubs and stuff to turn up, the Pro-Am hubs. But yeah, that's our update for now. Lots going on. Little one's going on upstairs. So there she is there. There's the front just clips in, but it's set up at ride height now, so we're going to jig off the floor and get it level, and then we'll start the build. So there's our update on King Kombi. More soon, but yeah, it's coming along good now. Progress about to start. Rightio, so this is the start of the chassis build. So basically, with anything you build, if you build a race car chassis or any type of race chassis, usually you would use a jig. But a lot of chassis that are built for the first time are actually built basically not even off a jig. Even if you had a jig at 1/2 metre off the ground or 3/4 of a metre off the ground, you still need to get it level. So basically, this is a one-off, so I didn't need a jig for it. So what I did was I used some blocks, put them down on the ground, and I wanted the body down at ride height, at full bottom out. And the very first things I needed was the first bars in, so I used a digital level, which I used all the way through it. Put them down to the ground. I ended up dyno bolting them down to the ground so I could build the basic chassis off that. Basically squared it up, level to go to 0, eventually, but the foundation bars were basically the very first bars I put in, and you do the old measurement, check it both ways, crossways and stuff to make sure it's square within less than nothing of a mil. And yeah, if you look at this graph here, it just shows you how to square them up for tape measure and stuff, but I did many measurements before I was happy. Once I was happy, I laid down the front and rear bar, and the very first thing after those bars was to put the crossbars in, and then to move on to basically get the roll bar hoop in. And that's why we needed that all square in the body on, to get the roll cage at ride height, so it was going to be right. Here's the fender. There's the roll bar getting tacked in, and so on, and we just kept moving on from there. Bruce looking pretty happy. He was very helpful. Tuesday, 8th of August, 2:17, King Kombi. It is happening. Okay, body panels off. We're about to transform them back upstairs. We're done with them. We've been bending our main cage. There's the last piece of the puzzle up there. There's our roll cage onto our floor level, which is all laid out. This is the basis structure of the King Kombi. Is it level? Of course it is. It's all done digitally off the base. We will build in heaps. We'll make a jig, but not for this one. That red mark there, that's the outer perimeter. Don't want any pipes past that. But the roll cage is done. Turned out lovely, thanks to the pipe master.
Pipe master.
Yeah, that's right. What am I? Notch master.
Notch master.
So we're just about to pull it apart. There's a bit of a view there. And yeah, more updates soon. We're going to onwards and upwards and move it on hard. Rightio, so once all the body was taken off, it's always good when you're building anything for roll cage and stuff to have the body there for the initial fit, because you don't want to be checking that later on and find out that the roll cage is in the way. So we're happy with all that. Packed all that away. It was now time to start on the front end. So basically the track width for this is over 90 inches. So you'll see the rims on the ground. We made a jig up to basically put the struts in. So the struts came in from a mob in America called Cartech Off-Road. All the spindles and stuff like that. So basically it was a kit, and I TIG welded them all together. Used big rods and lots of heat in them to get it all together, and basically made the struts. once the struts were done, you can see we used the original rims, which was the easiest way to bolt the front hubs in. The Pro-Am front hubs that we got, put the struts in there and basically worked out the width and bolted it down to the ground and got them level, which made it easy to start figuring out how to make the front lower control arms. So as I said, never done anything like an off-road truck like this before, plenty of bars going in, and then had to work out where the seat roughly was, just mimicking stuff up. You can see here, this is the design of the front end starting to come together. Made a bit of a jig to hold that all in place. They actually used like a big urethane bush on the lower control arms on these Pro 2 trucks, so I eventually had to get a lathe. Here's the lathe I purchased. It had a 50mm centre bore, so I could start making up bronze bushes instead of using urethane. Some knucklehead with a bush in his mouth that he made. Not an expert on the lathe, but you just learn from videos and using them. So instead of using urethane bushes, I used bronze bushes while I was welding it up. Started jigging it up, going out to the uni bore here. You can see basically I'm tacking it on. Obviously we had to cut it and reinforce it all. But yeah, excuse me, the lower control arm started to come on. This was working out where the hydraulic steering box and stuff was going to go. Quite a bit of mucking around here. As I said, the only thing we had to go by was diagrams and stuff of Pro 2 style trophy trucks and stuff in America and pictures you could see on the internet. Not a lot of people own them, and so everything was just research, internet, look at it and stuff like that. This bar here where I'm pointing at, this is basically going to be cut out later on because there's a big supercharger pulley going in there, but I had to look at it and use that to mock it up, so it was all trial and error. If you built plenty of these chassis you would learn every time, but had to make this a good one the best we could the first time. Everything like we could use bits of wood, jacks holding stuff up, just figuring it all out. As I said, no instruction book and no one to look at as we done it, so just had to do the best we could do. Alrighty, King Kombi update. It is the 29th of September, Friday, 2:17. It's about 7:30 at night. Lots happened in the last sort of 2 weeks. First of all, we got this hoist I-beam set up here. So we've got 2 block and tackles, which hook up onto these rollers, and that way we can move the motor in and out. Just had to put the block in, so that's the block. It's a Dart Big M 4.5-inch bore, big block Chevy block with a much aftermarket power glide. It's going to have a turbo 400 output shaft. So what am I doing here? I'm getting the motor in, dumbing up to see what bars we're going to do for mounting of the engine and the engine plates and stuff. Also looking at front blower pulley and stuff like that. As I showed in an earlier video, this bar here will be removed because the blower pulley is going to be pretty much out front of there. Bit of a tight squeeze in there, but I don't think it'll be too bad. I'll get the steering and everything through there. It's just one of those areas. But the motor's definitely bit mounted. It's down super low, so the sump that we make up will be quite, I'd say quite low off the chassis. Probably about 10mm gap to a skid plate that runs underneath the chassis. So there we go. Plenty happening. Trying to figure all this out, but it's starting to work out fairly good. Lots more bars to go in. There's the sump. I've already had that on the block. Set the oil pump in. The oil pump here. Then we're also a big unit of an oil pump. It's a Gerator style, which should be really good for oil pressure. The starter motor. And the C starter motor. So yeah, this is actually starting to come to life. Lots more bars to go in and more updates soon. King Kombi. So here we are with the motor and so forth, starting to mock all that up and working out where it's going to go, working out where the top bars internally in the chassis are going to go as well. Lots of mocking up, sitting there working it all out. More progress on it. Okay, it's Sunday the 8th of October. Been working on the King Kombi middle section. So we've got a lot of bars down there. There's 2 bars up here. And that's the start of the engine compartment. It's mid-motor mounted on King Kombi. So all those bars in today. So 4 bars, that one, that one, that one. So next we'll be getting the engine in there, putting bars down for the engine plates. So progress is coming along good. Bruce has been upstairs working on Kombi bodies, but yeah, no, progress is coming along well. So that's our update. Sunday, 8th of October. Lots of welding done too, by the way. Coming along good. More updates soon. Rightio, so here we are mounting the engine. All these trophy trucks and Pro 2 trucks run an incredible amount of engine setbacks. So the basic motor's mounted way back in the chassis, obviously because they've got to jump and they don't want to be front heavy, and we had to do exactly the same thing. You'll see in this video here, just trying to work out where the engine's going to go. It is solid mounted, but the car runs so much suspension, the motor's just sitting in a big, basically floating bed. That's what they are in these trucks, because basically there's so much suspension travel, it's very cushiony how they sit in there and stuff. So basically the chassis is just sitting on a big floating suspension, it is. But yeah, I did actually make a big mistake here, because the motor had to be, once it was mounted, we found out later it had to be moved to a different angle for the tail shaft to work with the suspension travel. But yeah, more mistakes, you learn, never done it before. Jigged up a rear engine plate here. That didn't work out too bad in the end when I had to fix it up. But yeah, later on you'll see with the tail shaft I had a major problem. But anyway, you live and learn. On to the next update here. Alrighty, King Kombi update, Friday 20th of October. Lots going on. Motor is in and fully mounted. So I'm happy with that. Spent sort of the last 2.5, 3 weeks doing bar work, mounting the motor, putting an engine mid plate in. She's all in. So there we go. What are we going to get up to now? It's time to start mounting the front shocks. Front shocks, then I'll move on to the diff. Well, front shocks, all the top framework around here. Even look at top control arms, everything that goes in around the front arms and all the bar work. But motor's in. Look at the diff very soon. Rear arms, the whole lot. So 20th of October, there's the update. Moving on. King Kombi, it's on the way. Rightio, it was time to start making mounts for the lower control arm shock mounts. So basically everything made on this project was made with an angle grinder with a 100mm blade with a thin cutting blade, because we don't have access to CNC. I found it easier to use brackets made with the angle grinder cut neatly than using plasma cutting and stuff, because once they're cut, if you get it accurate, you can clean them up in the linisher super quick. Anyway, they turned out fairly neat, and yeah, these are the brackets going in for the bottom shock mounts. And yeah, another little video coming up here, update. Okay, that was Bruce farting. Did you hear that? He farted.
Wasn't me.
That was Bruce.
Wasn't me.
Anyway, we'll get past the fart, and it's the 29th of October, 2017. Here's where we're up to. We are mounting the front bars. So front bars from top of the chassis down to the front bash plate up to here, and then we're mounting our shocks. Last update I showed you the shock plates, and now we're actually mounting that. So that's where we're up to. We're working on mounting all the front shocks. So we'll give you another update in about a week or so. I reckon we'll have them done, and we're going to put a bit of a cross brace in between here. Top control arms, we won't be doing them until we get the rear diff in and get it back up to ride height. That's our update from the farting man. Rightio, more and more bars started going in. Just kept putting more and more bars in, because we're basically about to start making the top control arms and stuff. So to work out all the geometry and stuff like this, we basically use wood made templates and just made everything, the front suspension, work out of timber so we could make sure it worked and didn't bind up. So very crude way of doing it, but you can easily change wood if it doesn't work and go on again. You'll see in the next video. Okay, 19th of November, King Kombi suspension simulation. Top control arm, bottom control arm. Here we have our upright with our spindle going off and a simulated 35-inch wheel. Right now we are at 6 inches.
Right height.
Right height. So Bruce is going to bring it back now to bottom out. Okay, so that's it. Full bottom out. And that's basically what the wheel's doing, looking at that line. So now we'll bring it to 6 inches. So at 6 inches it was cambering in at bottom out. Just bring it back down to bottom out again. There's the camber change. There's a fully compressed suspension. Bring it up to 6 inches. Now we're going to bring it up to say 8 or 9. Not much camber gain there. 10 inches, nothing much going on. Now the car's about to leave the ground. Okay. And that's down at 20 inches, but if you look at the angle of the arms,
Full droop.
full droop, like the things in the air. That's pretty much standard. We'll bring it back up, 6 inches. Now most of the travel will occur in that area, so there's not a lot of camber change as it stays there. So we're going to weld the top control arm with 1 degree camber going on at 6 inches. At 6 inches. There we go, we happy with that?
Very happy.
How happy?
Beautiful. Beautiful template.
There we go, that's the best we can nut it out. I reckon we're
Here
good.
we are, just showing some more of our demo suspension, our front arms, upper and lower control arm.
So we're at right height.
We're at right height here.
We're going to jump. So which way is the suspension going?
Drops down.
From there, back at right height. On the brakes. Back down. Jump.
Beautiful. We might just go down and cut all the steelwork out and put this bit of timber in instead, I think.
Oh yeah, it'll be sturdy. It's the strongest titanium pine you can get.
Awesome.
That's it for this episode, guys. If you've made it this far, I do appreciate it. The build will get back into episode 4 next week, and we'll continue on with more fabrication. We could only get to this after hours and on weekends, so it did take a long time to build, as you'll see, many years. But we had our normal jobs and stuff, so it was all after hours or weekends work. We appreciate you watching, and episode 4 next week.